What's up, y'all? Shaman the Shank back at you with another one, and I got a real beaut for you today. You know what I mean? I know that Buck 119 Custom is a hard one to show up, and by no means is this one showing that up, but it's definitely a staple in the Buck lineage and a staple with Buck as a company as a whole, and it is a true beaut. So let me go ahead and get right into it, guys. And that knife I'm talking about is the Buck 120 General. Now, the one you're seeing right here, this bad boy right here, is not in 420HC. It's actually in D2, which I hear good things about. I'm not too familiar with the steel by using it. It's actually the first and only knife that I have in D2. So, and as you see, this thing is flawless. I mean, this thing has been sitting in my safe ever since I got it. I just get it out, to show off the buddies and stuff. That's about it, man. I haven't really really used it, but I would love to change that. I mean, but this knife is definitely a big difference from the 119. And if you're familiar with the 119 and the 120, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, same feel, same grip, but man, oh man, that blade length changes everything, man. It changes everything, but man, look at that. It is gorgeous. The blade's coming in at 7 3/8. I believe the overall weight on this bad boy is like 8.3 ounces, which that makes sense. I mean, it's got a little bit of weight to it, but man, this feels very light in hand, very nimble in hand. No issues with weight, not excessive on that at all. I mean, you can look at it. It's a pretty thin hunter. I mean, pretty slender. It's gorgeous, man. But, with the 119 having a blade length of 6 inches and this jumping up to 7 3/8, it is pretty substantial. And just to show you that difference right now, I'm going to break out my beloved Custom, which is, of course, with all that, put aside, it is, about to cut my finger off there. It is pretty much, it is a 119. So, it is a good comparison here. But look at the difference in that, guys. I mean, it's a good bit longer, and you can definitely feel that in hand. With the 119, I mean, I feel more in control with this knife. I feel like I can make more precision cuts, or for whatever reason you're using it for. But man, when I'm holding this 120, I feel like I'm kind of holding like a miniature sword, and I kind of get why they call it the General, because man, this bad boy, I feel like I'm riding up on a steed about to take my unit into battle. But I mean, it is a gorgeous knife, and I think they put this knife, whenever it did come out for purchase, I think in 1961, and I want to say the Buck 119 as well came out at the exact same time, along with another array of knives that were in the 100 series. But I believe from my research, they did come out at the same time, and they're both legends in their own right. But the 119 did go on a hiatus, I believe, and it's so weird sometimes looking up Buck information online. Like, some of these dates just jump all over the place. I'm like, which one is right? Which one is, the legit? But I've seen that this knife got discontinued in 1991 or 1992, and I saw somebody else saying that it got discontinued in 2001 or something like that, and it got brought back in 2011 in a catalog. But I know one thing for a fact, excuse me, it did get discontinued for about a 10-year period. That is the truth. And the reason is people were complaining, like I was just kind of talking about, the length of it. It's just, it's a very well-to-do knife, but man, oh man, I mean, it's out there. I mean, it is. I mean, I wish I could make my videos 3D and I could straight, show you what's up with it. But I mean, it is a long knife, and there's no doubt about it. But it feels right. It feels right. Now, if I had a 119 and a 120 on the table, and somebody said you got to pick one, and it's going to be your knife for a long period of time, I would definitely go for the 119. And that's not bashing this knife whatsoever. I want to get this knife out. I want to get this knife dirty. I want to use this knife. And that D2 still has me really, really curious about, how that holds up. I love hearing reviews and seeing people talk about this stuff and then actually kind of putting it to the test. But I hear good things about it. Good retention from what I hear it's a real bear to sharpen. But, time will tell, time will see. I just got to get it out there and get her dull, have some fun with her. But other than that, I hear D2 is a pretty daggum good, still. But let's get to the knife, guys. Of course, if you already get, or you decide to get a 120, it is not available on the Custom site. So with that being said, you have three options. You have the basic phenolic handle, that comes on pretty much every basic, Buck fixed blade within, the 100 series. And you have the step up, which is the Dymalux Cocobolo handles. Feels great in hand. Looks absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful. And of course, you got that D2 in the blade. Now, if you want to step it up to the Pro and get the third installment of this, third option, you're going to get OD green micarta handles, and you're going to bump that still up to S35VN. Ooh, baby, that is nice. That would be a nice little addition to this knife. But I feel good from what I've read about the D2, and of course, you know, hell, I feel good with the 420HC. I mean, I have experience with that. I mean, I know it holds up, but I just really wanted something different than the phenolic handles. I like the phenolic handles, but nothing beats that classic, you know, wood grip on there. I think that it adds to the weight as well. And I just think that looks absolutely stunning, guys. And that OD green micarta looks pretty sharp too. And from what I hear, I've never held one of those, but I hear it's got a decent little bit of a textured grip on it. So that would definitely come in hand with, you know, using this knife. But, you know, you got your finger guard up here, which, I mean, that protects your finger pretty well from sliding down on that blade. And, you know, just basic, you know, buck engineering here, you know. And of course, you know, as always, they're calling it a full tang, but nah, man, but this knife would be a cool knife to put a full tang on, because with this extra blade length, I mean, a full tang on this knife would be very fitting, to be honest with you, especially if they want to market this knife as like a an outdoor, not a survival knife. Well, I mean, you know, any knife. If you put me out in the woods and give me a buck 120 and that's all you gave me, and beggars can't be choosers, I would be like, okay, man, thank you. I really do appreciate it, and I will do my best with it. But this knife with a full tang would be phenomenal. I really think the whole entire 100 lineup would be great. I mean, especially the 119 and the 120, but especially this bad boy, because that length is a bit out there, a bit long, but it feels good, guys. I've seen a lot of videos, a lot of reviews of this knife. A lot of people use this knife for food prep. I mean, I've seen a lot of people chopping stuff up in the kitchen, or of course on the campsite, using it solely for that. There's another YouTuber on here. He's got an excellent video reviewing this actual very knife. Gideon Tactical. Definitely check him out, and check out his video on the Buck 120 General Heritage, which that's, you know, the official name of this, you know, rendition of the Buck 120 with the D2 steel, and it holds up like a champ. He don't really go too insane with it like some of these other guys do, but he does some mild batoning with this knife and makes some feather sticks. I mean, and it holds up like a tank. I mean, like I said, guys, it's definitely worthy of taking out, you know, on the trail with you, or wherever, you know, you feel like you need to take it. But another cool thing about this knife, and if any of you guys watching are, you know, horror movie buffs, or, you know, you like the spooky stuff, this knife probably looks familiar, because I mean, this is the knife that pretty much Ghostface from Scream used to slash his way through all of the teenagers and all that he was, you know, carving up in those films. So this is that knife. And of course, you know, if you're familiar with the Buck 120, you probably know that. But you know, just a little useless BS knowledge about this knife. But that kind of also brought this knife into the scene a good bit. But aside from that, guys, I mean, it is a gorgeous knife. I'm trying to think of what else I can say about this knife, because like I said, you know, unfortunately I haven't had it on my side, and I really haven't, you know, really used it, you know, out there. I mean, the video from Gideon Tactical is a great way to see that. This is just me talking about it, my views on it, you know, and all that good stuff. But it really is a beautiful knife. There's no doubt about that. And also to touch base on the sheath that it comes with. I mean, it comes with like your basic, you know, basic sheath right there. Nothing special about it. Not made in America, made in Mexico, but it's, you know, it is what it is, man. But as you probably, if you didn't notice, here it is. I also had a custom sheath made for this one, and I'll put his information down below. Great guy. I think I got him off, it was either Amazon or eBay or Etsy, one or the other. I'll definitely put that down in the bottom for you guys to check out, but it looks absolutely phenomenal in this holster. And I just wanted something a little different, you know, something a little different than the regular degular. But great sheath. And I think this came in around like 40 bucks, 45 bucks. And for the hand craftsmanship of this, you really can't beat it. It really is a great sheath. But guys, that about sums it up. I really can't think of too much more to say about this knife, other than the price. Of course, you know, your regular Buck 120 is going to come in, I believe. Ooh, what number did I come up with on that one? I think it was 102, right over 100 bucks, maybe 104 on the website. And that's the cool thing about this one, you know. I know I said it's not a part of the custom line, but you go from that basic 102, 104. I'm sorry, I may be wrong, but I'm definitely in the ballpark there. This one jumps up to 129. So you're going from that 420 HC steel to D2, and of course you're getting those beautiful Damalux Coco Bolo handles right there. Absolutely classic feel. And of course, you know, from there, you have a pretty substantial jump up. You're going to go from that 129 to the 219 range for that that Pro with the S35VN and the micarta, which, you know, hey, that's a nice little jump. But I mean, you know, I think this is a great in between to get this knife for, you know, right at 130 bucks. A bit of an upgraded steel, depending upon what you want in a steel. You know, like I said, you know, I think 420 HC is great. I think it's super easy to sharpen. For me, the edge retention on them has always been great. And like, and if that is a problem, they're so easy to touch up. And corrosion resistance is also key for the 420. But I hear good things about this one as well. And like I said, I'm just doing hearsay on that, guys. I really can't give you firsthand experience with it. I do have two knives, an S35VN, which has been a phenomenal still. I'll definitely get one of those out here. One's a folder that I'll definitely get on here and review. But it's held up phenomenal. And I've kind of dogged that knife, to be honest with you. It's been kind of a dogger, and it has held up in that. And it definitely should be dull, but man, it is not dull at all. That thing could still shave the legs on a Russian lady, man. I'll tell you what, it is something else. But, you know, you have your options out there, guys, and it makes it a little bit more easier. You know, you don't have to go through the whole custom and all that stuff. But this knife would be a sweet custom option. I can just imagine that chip flint on there, or this knife in Magna Cut, you know, and maybe some other, you know, handle options. But that's what we got to deal with right now, guys. If you want a 120, you got three options, and I'm sure you'll choose the right one if, you know, this is something that floats your boat. But guys, it is a beautiful, beautiful knife. You know, if you're a user, a collector, or both, this is definitely a knife that I would definitely add to my collection. I really don't have anything bad to say about it, because like I said, I really can't say anything about the functionality of it. But, you know, again, with my experience with the Buck 119, I mean, this knife is just a dream, and I don't doubt this knife would be a dream either. It's just that extra length. It's kind of like unnecessary for a hunting knife. This knife is kind of in the, I've seen a couple of people say it, but I mean, I don't know if I agree. They kind of compare it to a K-bar. I'm like, nah, I don't think this knife is kind of aimed toward that, even though, which is another funny note, I was looking at some old advertisements that Buck, whenever they came out with the Buck 120, they would put in the newspaper or magazines, catalogs, you know, they would have the knives and they would list out, you know, the things that they can be used for. And one of the things that was listed for this knife is fighting. So, yeah, man, Ghostface would approve, definitely. This knife is definitely Ghostface approved, which, you know, hey, there you go. But, yeah, man, if somebody's coming after me with a Buck 120 or any knife for that reason, but definitely this bad boy, I'd be like, hey, man, I better be packing, or I better have some quick squabs, if you know what I mean. I better have my shoes tied tight and running for my life, because this thing is razor sharp and it's got some reach on it, man. It's definitely got some reach on it. But guys, that about sums it up. Like I said, it's a beautiful knife, great knife to have as a user. I mean, from what I've seen, but definitely great for the collection. You know, if you're a collector, you know, you have your knives you use, and once in a while you get a knife just, you know, for the just to have it in the collection. It's definitely one for the books. But guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the Buck 120 General Heritage with the D2 steel. I really don't think you'd regret buying it. I really am eager to use this and kind of check out this D2 steel. And as these videos progress, I would love to get out and you know, do some videos out in the woods, you know, kind of like putting some of these to the test and seeing what they do. But you know, it ain't nothing that ain't been done. There's guys on there right now that's doing that, and definitely check out that Gideon Tactical video. That's a pretty cool video showing this knife. But aside from that, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a great rest of your week. And please, just like this Buck 120 General Heritage, stay sharp.